It's Nikki. How you doing? Welcome. If you're joining for the first time or if you're an old timer, either is brilliant. So thank you so much. Right, what am I talking about today? I'm talking about building new relationships with people who can help you to elevate or change your business or your life. So you will know that a lot of people do these discovery calls, these chemistry calls, let's have a chat type situation. And I have done a whole training about Let's Have a Chat because over the last 25 years, that's basically how many of my opportunities or my client relationships have come. And that in itself has been a skill that I've needed to hone, whether I'm pitching for work or whether or not I'm selling one of my services, and making sure that I'm in tune. But today I want to, and if you want to go and purchase that, you can go to nikkieraby.com/shop. But today I'm talking about you, the customer or the potential client, and some preparation, I guess, that you should be doing before you embark on working with somebody. I know that there are big chunky sales techniques out there, and I don't really know what they are because I haven't joined any of those webinars that teach you like 10 fast ways to sell, or TEDx maybe, 10x your success, all of that sort of stuff. That is just not my vibe at all, like putting numbers or tallies on whiteboards. That's just not my world, that kind of corporate situation. I have over the years worked with people in many different ways. So I've had commitments with people over a 12-month period. There have been some people that I've gone back to again and again that I've worked with for like 5 years, and I almost have little top-ups along the way. I've bought courses where I've never interacted with the person at all, and just done from my living room and sitting on my sofa. And bizarrely, like, it would have seemed a lot of money to some people, like, what, you spent £2,000 with that person and you didn't have a conversation with them? But it's a really interesting time that we are living in. And obviously that's a different conversation to spending money on a course which doesn't have any one-to-one support. But I think for the purposes of this, I want to talk a bit more one-to-one, because when I've had one-to-one work, that's when I've really noticed different kinds of shifts. So I do hugely believe that you can get a lot from group work, and you can really experience what somebody's going through and get a lot from somebody's teaching. But there's something about you being on the spot with nowhere to hide, with no phone apps to distract you, that with somebody knowing carefully how to work with you, that you're going to get different results. It's almost like, I remember at drama school, for example, and we had to learn stage makeup. We had some kind of workshop on it. And then I remember at the end of the session, the teacher who came in said, "Oh, can I just use your face and you'll be like my," I was going to say model, but that's not what I mean, but like, you'll be my face to demonstrate on. And it was so different watching somebody in their element, in that interaction one-to-one. And I think this is an important point as well, is that you want to invest with somebody who's really going to be an expert, who's going to take care of you and look after you. Anyway, I've got 3 points that I want to share with you today, and a bonus one, which I'll share with you at the end. The first thing that I am always doing as my check-in when I start the discovery call, and this is me as the client, this is me as the customer, my first question is, and this wasn't always my first question, and maybe I've made a few mistakes over time, but that's not what this podcast is about. Do I feel safe with this person? And this is, it sort of sounds flippant to say this, like, sorry, my laptop is, there we go, now my computer's a bit more light. Do I feel safe with this person? Has to be a question, because in order for things to work well, and even though it's going to be a professional relationship, I think when you're investing in yourself at a one-to-one level, you need to have a sense of vulnerability, that you can be vulnerable, and that person has integrity and has enough professionalism and confidentiality to hold that space for you. And that has certainly been a time when I've invested in my own development. And it's usually come from a point when I didn't know the answers, or I felt stuck, or I just needed an expert eye because I felt like I was drowning in some kind of way. It sounds dramatic, I know, but you know what I mean. Like, it never came from, those conversations never came from a point of like, everything's fine, so I don't know really why I'm here. Every single time I knew exactly why I was there. But for somebody like me, who is proactive, who is determined, who is all of those things, it takes a lot for me to be comfortable enough to ask for help, because I am that person who just gets stuff done by myself. That is my default setting. So to ask myself in that situation, do I feel safe? Do I feel held? And that's not to say that I'm going to be a victim in that situation, or I'm not going to do my own work, because invariably that's always required of you as well. But I think safety and non-judgment is really, really brilliant. One of my clients, Natalia, who runs ClearDesk, I will tag her down below, always talks about when she works with a new business and they need support in terms of their operations, they will always start the conversation apologizing, like, I'm so sorry it's such a mess, or gosh, I mean, these are things that we've kind of worked on together, like, what do clients say, what's going on for you? And quite often for many of us, it's a bit of an apology, like, I'm so sorry, this is not my zone of genius, or like, I've let my spreadsheet slip a bit, or all that sort of stuff. So for you as the business owner, how can you make that person feel safe so they know where they can go from here, so they can be vulnerable? Because always on the other side of somebody putting their hand up and going, I don't know what to do in this situation, or I'm feeling a bit lost, if you have the answer, you unlock a door for that person. So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, and it's one that I'm always listening to my gut instinct about. Number 2, do they hear you? Do they hear your agenda instead of being led by their own, I guess? Sometimes I've had people on discovery calls when I've been looking for help that they almost don't quite hear what I'm saying. They tell me what I should do. They sort of highlight all the places where I've gone wrong. And there's some amount of shame in that. Like, oh, right. Oh, no wonder you need all of this sort of stuff. And the thing is, with your business, with your brand, with your life, it's all your agenda. That's the whole point. Creating success on your terms, with your circumstances, with your personality, doing things in a way that feels really good to you. That is the whole flipping point. So if somebody who has never met you, or has met you at the other end of an email, to kind of come on and say, right, this is what it is, this is where you need to go next, it can feel really overwhelming. So that is always a sign for me that, is that person talking more than they need to? Are they actually hearing what it's like? And certainly when, and this hasn't always been the case, but when I was talking about the early stages of motherhood, for example, of talking about where I wanted my business to go and what that was all about, I found that there were a couple of conversations of like sweeping things like, yeah, because you still want to see your kids. And it's like, yes, I do. But do you know what the nuance of that is? Of what happens when they're ill, or that my schedule does need to be flexible, like other working parents or other people that are caring, or they have other responsibilities. You really have to listen to the nuance of that. So that is my point number 2. Make sure you're really feeling heard. Number 3, I'm warming my hands up as I'm saying it. What are the energetics of this interaction? A, do you feel like you're going to have the time to commit? B, are you willing to play around in terms of stepping into a state where you are available for progress? Now that feels like it could be a whole nother video, so I will just very quickly say what I mean on this. There is no point signing up to work with somebody who has created fantastic results for somebody else if you're not willing to do the work. So even though you might say, yeah, but in the evenings, like, I always watch telly, that's always what I do, like, that's what I need. And if that's when you're going to be doing your coaching, or you have to listen to some training or whatever it might be, you have to be willing energetically to make some shifts, to make some changes, and be open to possibilities and new ways of doing things. So are you in that position energetically? And I know this is the thing with time, like people are like, I don't have time, oh my goodness, it feels a lot, but there might be things that you can tweak. Are you willing to do that? Energetically, with the money, see, I go back to that place. Energetically, as you are exchanging money for service, how does that feel? I know sometimes people will say this situation of, unless you throw thousands and thousands of pounds at something and put your back against the wall and push yourself out of your comfort zone, you're not going to get the results. That point of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is very different for different people. And sometimes making a commitment, for example, of £20 per month, if you've never done that before, that is the same feeling as if you were committing to £1,000 a month. I truly believe that. It's the same feeling. It has different consequences, it has different situations, but your comfort zone is subjective. So you have to feel into, how does that exchange feel energetically? Does this feel a right fit for you right now? Because I have had conversations with people where they've shared the bonuses and this and it's that and all the rest of it. And sometimes, even though I come back to it, it still hasn't quite felt right. Even though I had the money in the bank, even though I was able to financially, time-wise commit, it's sometimes that sixth sense of really truly asking yourself, energetically, is this what I actually need? Or am I signing up for something because I really like the person, or I feel really compelled by what they've done? Or, I don't know, people on the internet tell me that I should invest in myself. Here I am trying to invest in myself. Really listen to those energetics of time, of money, especially if they are new patterns for you. Because I tell you what, if you don't get those results, if you don't feel like there's that fair exchange early on, you will revert back to your old default settings. And that is maybe of, self-development doesn't work anyway, or oh, I thought it was too expensive at the time, I'm not getting value for money, or why are they bombarding me with stuff, like I just don't have time to do all of the things. There's going to be some cheeky old habits or beliefs that maybe you're not even consciously aware of that are going to pop up and say hello. So my final bonus is my bonus kind of point here is, I always fast forward. What will happen to my business, to my brand, to my life a year from now if I do this or if I don't? And I allow that whole process, almost like a visualization. What will I learn? How will it change the way that I feel? Will I open up possibility? Will it have a positive impact on my life? What will it take away? Will I be able to make that money back easily? what's the return on the investment in so many different ways. And now I can feel like I've got hiccups coming. Okay, I think they've gone. There we go. I allow that tape to play all of the way through. And I do that pros and cons list. Because there have been some times where I've been on the end of a discovery call and I've had all the good vibes. So I felt safe with this person. I felt like they've heard me. Energetically, it feels right. It feels all in alignment of where I'm going. But the fear has been underneath. The fear has almost been like kicking the water underneath and making me feel unsettled. And so playing that tape through of where will I be a year from now if I actually do this thing or not has been really useful in that situation, because you can make money back. This is the thing. Whenever you invest in yourself, it's never a case, and well, certainly this is not the way that I say it to myself, that I never go, well, that was on my last tenner that I gave to somebody, because I would never get myself in that situation. Like, if I've only got a tenner left in the world, I'm feeding my children, that's the situation there. So this is about really working it through and grabbing a piece of paper and a pen and not, I guess, just falling in to what the other person's agenda is, because the people that you talk to, especially if they're experienced, they will be able to sell. I know over the years, going into auditions for 25 years, I know how to do a good audition. Do I get the job every time? Absolutely not. But I know how to deliver. I also know that in a coaching situation as well, I have a really excellent conversion rate. I mean, if that doesn't sound too cold, but when I have meetings on the phone with people, generally they lead to something, some direction, something opens up, a relationship is born. And so I want to ask you, where next? Where do you need help? What are the key ingredients that you feel are missing in your business? And I know you see chefs on the telly sometimes where they're encouraging you every step of the way, like, taste it. Does it need more salt? Does it need more pepper? Does it need a bit of sweetness? Do you need to knead it a bit more? Does it need to cook a bit longer in the oven? That's what your business and your brand is going to be like every step of the way, of asking yourself, what do I need to do here to really take it to the level that I want to? As always, you probably know you can work with me one-on-one. I would absolutely love to have a free 15-minute chat with you, and let's have a conversation, and let's, you work through these things with me of, do you feel safe in my company? Do you feel like I'm hearing, am I the right person? And if I'm not, I will absolutely tell you as well. But thirdly, energetically, are you at that point where you really could do and would value, I guess, that one-to-one support, that somebody at the end of the phone supporting you, guiding you, holding that space for you? If that is you, do check out the link down below, nikkiraby.com/coaching with Nikki. I would love to hear from you. I am opening up spots now for the end of 2021 and going into 2022. As always, I work with your life and your business, so the two are not separate from each other. Everything wants to have that blend and, dare I say it, that balance. But we don't really need balance, do we? We're doing all the things all at the same time and figuring it out as we go. So I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching, for listening, and try all these techniques that I've shared. I would love to hear what really landed for you. All right, have a great day, whatever you're doing. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon.